Now, the South Plains First News in high definition. This is KCBD News Channel 11 at 5.
New at 5 today, months after a mistrial in Thomas Dixon's murder case here in Lubbock, a date for jury selection in the retrial is now set. Plus, right now, the South Plains is seeing some of its coolest temperatures since June. So is the fall-like weather here to stay? But first, a Lubbock assistant police chief is suspended and 2 supervisors are reprimanded following an internal affairs investigation into how the Mark Isasaga case was handled. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us today at 5. I'm Christy Harton. Today, Lubbock Police Chief Jerry Brewer announced disciplinary actions against those 3 officers. Back in June, sources close to the investigation told KCBD that Christian Castro, a person of interest in Isasaga's disappearance, received a $10,000 reward and was released from police custody after making the crime line call that led officials to Isasaga's remains. Later, we learned that an arrest report for Castro had been deleted, all leading to an investigation by police. KCBD News Channel 11's Patricia Villasin is live from the police department with more on the investigation's findings today. Patricia.
Well, Christy, Chief Brewer announced that the investigation exposed some internal policy violations and judgment errors that prompted him to reprimand those 2 supervisors and suspend Assistant Chief Shavers for 10 days without pay. The investigation brought some shortcomings to light. Brewer said the press release announcing Castro's arrest was never corrected to include that he was brought to the police department for questioning and was never booked into the county jail. He also addressed the issue with Castro's arrest report, saying it should not have been deleted and instead a supplement to the arrest report should have been written to explain why Castro was not booked after his arrest.
I am keenly aware that the integrity of this department must be beyond reproach. I will do what is necessary for the good of the city and the department to keep that trust.
Brewer also addressed the crime line tip that led to the discovery of Isasaga's remains and said that the caller wished to remain anonymous, a request the department wants to respect. Brewer also emphasized that these violations and errors were made well after the investigation and in no way impacted Isasaga's fate. Christy, back to you.
Thanks so much, Patricia. Jose Cimental has been charged with Isasaga's murder. He remains behind bars at the Lubbock County Detention Center on a $1 million bond. We first broke this story online and on our KCBD mobile app. To receive breaking news alerts when you're on the go, just download our app, search for KCBD in your app store. We're also following the latest developments on the arrest of Jason Paul Smith. Authorities arrested Smith this morning here in Lubbock. He's accused of threatening to blow up the Statue of Liberty in New York. That call, made in April of this year, led to the evacuation of 3,000 people from Liberty Island. This is video from our NBC affiliate in New York showing the rush of people to get off that island. It took them about an hour. According to investigators, Smith used a service that assists the hearing impaired to call 911 in New York City. The caller identified himself as Abdul Yisin and described himself as an ISIS terrorist. They believe he made the threat while living in West Virginia, but investigators say they were able to track Smith to Lubbock via his iPad. They discovered Smith started making iTunes transactions in the Lubbock area back in June. Authorities say he made public posts on his Facebook page stating he was in Lubbock. Smith made his first appearance in Lubbock Federal Court today. He's been assigned a public defender. Another court appearance is scheduled for Friday. New at 5, jury selection is set to begin on October 12th in the retrial of an Amarillo man accused of killing a Lubbock doctor. Thomas Dixon is accused of hiring David Shepard to kill former Covenant chief pathologist Dr. Joseph Saunier at his home back in July of 2012. Shepard is currently serving a life sentence without parole. Earlier this year, jurors declared a mistrial in Dixon's murder trial after almost a month of testimony. We have new details about yesterday's fatal rollover in East Lubbock. It happened just before 3:30 yesterday afternoon on Highway 82 and East Loop 289. Lubbock police say 21-year-old Tasmin Castillo and 2-year-old Alina Trevino were thrown from the SUV and died on the scene. The 2 other passengers, 22-year-old Andrew Trevino and his 1-year-old son, were taken to UMC with non-life-threatening injuries. Police say they were all wearing seatbelts. Investigators say the SUV was on the Idalou Highway when one of its tires blew out. The vehicle then rolled off the embankment onto Parkway Drive. School is right around the corner, and Lubbock ISD is working to make sure students have all the supplies that they'll need to start the new school year on the right foot. LISD partners up district-wide with United, but more than a dozen businesses and churches partnered with specific campuses within the district to collect school supplies. KCBD News Channel 11's Gloria De Leon is live from LISD with more on the district's effort. Gloria?
Christy, here at Lubbock ISD, social workers are sorting through tons of school supplies to provide students in need with the tools they'll need to succeed this school year. As school quickly approaches, the district received donations of notebooks, glue, scissors, rulers, crayons, and more.
Some of us mentioned that we didn't have school supplies when school began, and how bad that makes people feel, children feel especially, and the parents too, for not being able to provide the school supplies.
And LISD social worker Bonnie Quintana says it brings her so much happiness that the Lubbock community helps students in need.
Many times our parents may have a concern about whether or not what they need to do if their child does not have school supplies, and that's why we distribute these to the campuses.
Quintana says she is responsible for bringing the donated supplies to LISD's central office, sorting them out, and notifying campuses when they're ready for pickup.
The social workers take part in distributing the school supplies to the different campuses. That helps the students that aren't able to get supplies on their own to be able to blend in with the rest of the kids and feel happy about their school supplies and know that they're just like everybody else, and be able to go on with their day and be happy.
If your child is in need of school supplies, just visit our website at kcb.com to find out how you can get those. Christy, back to you.
Thanks, Gloria. Right now, more than a half dozen Lubbock ISD schools are hosting their back-to-school open houses. Parents and students will have the opportunity to meet teachers and campus staff there. Open houses in tomorrow. To see when your child's school is hosting an open house, just visit our website at kcbd.com and click on the back-to-school section. Classes start on the 24th. Yesterday, we asked you to give special shout outs on social media to teachers who had an impact on your life. Some KCBD staff members even added messages to their favorite teachers. You can watch those on the KCBD Instagram. Just search KCBD11 on Instagram. And today, we want to know about any back-to-school bargains that you've found. Show us your crafty and thrifty back-to-school ideas online by using the hashtag KidsComeBackDays. In the Odessa area, a school district is pushing back the start of classes at 2 high schools by more than a week. Ector County ISD says weather and construction delays are to blame for 2 high schools not opening on time. Students at those 2 campuses will now have to face longer school days of about 25 minutes. Turning to our weather now, a fall-like chill is in the air. So could we see a possible record low this week? John's tracking the cooler temperatures from the First Alert Forecast Center. He has more on that. John?
That's right, Christy. Temperatures right now, as you saw, we'll go back to the instant data, are holding in the 60s tomorrow afternoon. Be back to a little more sunshine coming up around 70s, climbing up to near 80 degrees late in the day. It looks like the wind's not as gusty as they have been today, and more importantly, sunshine is back.
Thanks so much, John. Thai police say the bomber involved in Monday's attack in Bangkok had accomplices. Police have identified the suspect. In surveillance video, police say they can see at least 2 other people helping him. The explosion on Monday was near a popular shrine. At least 20 people were killed in the bombing and 100 more were injured. New drone video is showing the aftermath of last week's massive explosions in Tianjin, China. The drones were used to monitor the spreading fires there. The explosion killed more than 100 people. Officials say more than 40 different chemicals were on site when the explosions happened. A Lubbock organization is getting ready to send 1 million servings of food to Nepal. Back in June, Nepal was hit by a powerful earthquake. Breedlove immediately jumped in to help those relief efforts. The organization says they have experienced some delays due to the damage left by the quake. Coming up later on KCBD News Channel 11 at 5, Donald Trump is still riding high. A new poll shows he's gained enough support to compete in the general election. Destructive and unpredictable wildfires continue raging in the west. Coming up, see the fire-nado shoot flames into the air. Plus, Tropical Storm Danny forms in the Atlantic and becomes the fourth named storm of the hurricane season.
We've got some potential of record lows, at least here in Lubbock overnight. We'll get rid of some of those clouds and warmer in your forecast for tomorrow.
In the race for the White House, a new set of polls is bad news for Hillary Clinton. In a hypothetical matchup, Donald Trump is closer to Clinton than ever before. Steve Handelsman is in Washington, D.C. with what all this means. Steve?
Christy, Hillary Clinton says voters never ask about her emails, but her new poll numbers suggest a lot of voters are concerned about the controversy. Hillary Clinton still leads every Republican in every poll, but as Donald Trump got his first magazine cover as a candidate, Clinton's lead over Trump shrunk in today's CNN poll to just 6 points. Her favorable versus unfavorable rating fell further to 44-53. And more voters, 56%, said they believe Clinton did something wrong with her State Department emails the FBI is investigating.
Now that the governmental authorities are involved, they tend to move rather slowly. So she's going to have a hard time moving this off the table, even by the general election of 2016.
In New Hampshire, where Democratic challenger Bernie Sanders is the leader, Clinton's trying to change the subject with a new ad.
We need to have people believing that their work will be rewarded.
Trump, meanwhile, has got another of his rivals adopting his rhetoric. Neurosurgeon Ben Carson, running second to Trump in Iowa, seconded the Donald on birthright citizenship, granted in the Constitution.
That people can come in here and have a baby, and that baby becomes an American citizen and allows them to come in. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Tonight, Jeb Bush's town hall in New Hampshire is just a few miles from Trump's town hall. The turnout could be lopsided. Many used to say for Donald Trump to run makes no sense, but fewer say that now. From Washington, Steve Handelsman, KCBD News Channel 11. Christy, back to you.
Thanks, Steve. New at 5 today, former Texas Governor Rick Perry's legal team has asked the state's highest criminal court to dismiss a felony charge against him. Last month, a lower state court threw out a charge against Perry for coercion of a public servant, but allowed an abuse of power charge to stand. Perry was indicted last year for publicly threatening to veto state funding for an anti-corruption unit in Travis County. The special prosecutor leading the case against Perry says it's built on evidence, not politics, and the case deserves to go to trial. Former President Jimmy Carter will publicly speak about his cancer fight tomorrow. Carter will discuss his health in detail at the Carter Center in Atlanta. The former president revealed last week that cancer has spread to other parts of his body. The 90-year-old had surgery earlier this month to remove a small mass from his liver. Carter says he plans to undergo treatment in Atlanta. Wildfires in the west continue to burn today. 5 firefighters in central Washington state are hoping that the weather does not worsen conditions as they battle a raging blaze near Chelan. More than 50 structures there have burned down, and about 1,500 people were forced to evacuate their homes.
Hundreds and hundreds of houses that could be in the line of fire.
In Idaho, crews had to battle this fire-nado. Look at this. Flames shot up to 100 feet in the air while dropping hot dirt and ash on firefighters' helmets. About 200 active duty military troops have been called in to help contain western wildfires. Tropical Storm Danny is now the 4th named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season. It's churning in the southern Atlantic with 40-mile-per-hour winds, but Danny is expected to strengthen and become a hurricane later this week. It's too early to tell if Danny will have any effect here on the U.S., but anyone along the coast should watch the storm closely.
Well, I'll tell you what, we have no showers, no thunderstorms in West Texas now. We had some overnight, but we do have cloudy conditions dominant in our region. Looking at the Super Doppler HD3, notice that there's no precipitation at this point. Really not expecting anything tonight. In fact, we'll see these clouds generally decreasing in coverage across the area, and that'll allow temperatures to cool on down. Checking your current temperatures out at the airport, you're going to find us in the cool readings around the South Plains from the 60s to 70s. Actually, it's 72 at the airport. That's the warmest that it's been so far this afternoon. There's your humidity. Dew point is 54. That number may go down a little bit tonight. We've got an east wind about 14 miles an hour. It looks like we've had a gust during the last 15 to 20 minutes of 21 miles an hour. Makes it feel a little bit cooler than it is, but at least we've made it in the 70s. That's about 20 degrees below the normal, though, for this time of year. Looking ahead, here's how it's shaping up. It'll be cool in the morning, maybe a record low, then about 80 tomorrow afternoon. A nice afternoon coming up. Slight chance of storms coming up Friday afternoon, maybe Friday night into Saturday morning, and then some hot temperatures, by the way, Friday and Saturday back to around 90 to 95 degrees. Rain potential, I'm picking it up tomorrow night around 9 o'clock. Storms will work their way out of New Mexico across the South Plains, kind of diminished during the early morning hours on Friday. And then we'll look for lows tomorrow morning to range from 51 in Muleshoe to 53 in Lubbock. And keep in mind, the record low for Lubbock is 54. 56 in Seminole. There'll still be some cloud cover, so it's really difficult to say for sure if we're going to tie or break that record low, but if we continue to dry out a little bit, get some clearing, we'll definitely be close to it, maybe even surpass it. 53 in Matador, 50s from Paducah down to Jayton, the upper 50s down in the Snyder area. Tomorrow afternoon, well, daytime highs will range from the low 80s in Paducah and Matador to about 82 in Snyder. Overall, it really looks like a nice day coming up on Thursday before we start warming up again on Saturday, Friday and Saturday. Low 80s Littlefield, about 80 in Plainview, 84 degrees in Seminole. In the 5-day numbers heading into your 7-day forecast show initially from Thursday through Saturday you're going to be in the 90s, but look at this in the 4th and 5th period, 80s back on Sunday and Monday, mid-80s on Sunday and Monday with another chance of thunderstorms. Slight chance of storms late Thursday, early Friday, late Friday, and then again Saturday morning. And as far as the rain potential on Friday, here is the raincast, and notice what happens there. Clouds across the region off and on in the late night and evening hours, and those will continue to stay in the region overnight. And there's your rain chances coming up Friday evening. Some of those may linger all the way into early Saturday morning, and rainfall amounts, well, maybe enough to be measurable around the South Plains. Some of that activity will linger through the morning hours and maybe again into Saturday as well. Temperature-wise, though, Christy, we're focusing on tomorrow morning, where nighttime lows may dip down to the 50s here in Lubbock.
I bet you're confusing a lot of kiddos who head back to school next week thinking, what am I going to wear?
I know.
Thanks so much, John. Health-wise at 5 is next, but first, here's a look at what's coming up tonight on NBC Nightly News.
Coming up on Nightly News, a new poll reflects just how questions over Hillary Clinton's emails may be affecting her standing in the race for president. We're on a Greek island that is struggling to absorb a flood of refugees fleeing the clutches of ISIS. And we'll tell you about a remarkable new approach to battling cancer that's showing some incredible results when we see you tonight.
Bringing you the latest health coverage and medical news. Here's Karen McKay's Health-Wise at 5.
More research will continue on that. Back to you, Christy.
Thanks so much, Karen. The cost of Thanksgiving dinner is expected to climb this year. That's because recent outbreaks of bird flu have caused a turkey shortage. The price of turkey is expected to jump 19% from last year. Americans gobble up an estimated 46 million turkeys on Thanksgiving alone. The skies will be crowded this Labor Day weekend. An industry group says U.S. airlines will carry 14.2 million passengers. That's up 3% from last year. Summer travel overall is expected to reach an all-time record thanks to the stronger economy. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Just have your entire wardrobe accessible because our weather's kind of going like this.
It definitely is, Chrissy. The next couple of days, it's fall today. It'll be cool in the morning in the 50s, especially for those youngsters out and about. And then we're going to warm up to 80, 90s coming up Friday and Saturday, then back in the 80s Sunday and Monday. Not as cool as today, and the nighttime lows won't be quite so chilly Sunday, Monday, and morning.
Little something for everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks, John. Thank you for joining us. That's all our time. NBC Nightly News is next.